Now, the hue and saturation sliders seem like very straightforward, easy things to use, and indeed, in the case of the saturation slider, it is very straightforward and extremely easy to use, doesn't need hardly any instruction. So let's go ahead and take a look at it under Image, Adjustments, and one more time, you can bring to bear an adjustment layer for this, but I just like to do it this way. So as we look at this image of Brandy and Jimmy, we see Jimmy's complexion is quite a bit redder than Brandy's is. And so what we want to do is isolate the exact tint on his face that we want to make an alteration to without affecting Brandy's. And as you know, I mean, they're very close together physically, and she has light hair, he has light skin, so it's going to be a tightrope to see how we do this. Of course, now if all we want to do is adjust the saturation, move to the right to increase it, move to the left to decrease it, one of the little areas of flexibility you have is in the drop-down list, and you can, for instance, take the reds and increase the reds only or decrease the reds only. So there is some flexibility in here, but for basic saturation increases over the image as a whole, saturation is very easy to use. Now let's take a look at the hue slider because it's a little bit different, but it is probably going to be the thing we need in order to get rid of this red overcast on Jimmy's face. So when we click on the drop-down list and we choose reds, because we know that's the color we're going to be dealing with here, look at what happens to the hue sliders down here. This is the color they're reading in both of these faces, actually. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to isolate Jimmy's face, the red tint, the specific red tint in Jimmy's face away from Brandy, because we don't need to change her. She's in perfect shape. So in order to see what we're doing, in order to know one way or the other how it's going to go, it goes all the way to the left, and we purposely put a weird color in there so that it's obvious when we have it right or wrong. So now I'm going to start, since we have a lot of bleed over into Brandy, I'm going to try to get hers off. So I'm going to come over here just like that. But as we move this slider, we see that it's beginning to come off of Jimmy's face too, which is what we don't want. Now if we move this way, and this is just purely a process of trial and error. There is no one way to do this perfectly every single time with every single image. Okay, so I don't know that there's going to be a way that we're going to be able to get Jimmy. By the time we get him completely covered, it starts to encroach on Brandy's face, and that's not what we want. So we're going to back out, and we're going to create a selection. I'm just going to draw a selection around Jimmy's face because we've got to isolate him, and we've got to come up into here, make this selection really kind of as close as we can get it in there. Okay, then we come up here. Now we can go back, Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. We're going to go Reds. I'm going to slam all the way to the left. And now we can pretty much do what we want to do. We can adjust this however we want it. Okay, now we run this back to the default setting of 0, and we start to desaturate. And then for the hue, I'm going to go just a little bit to the right, because if you go like 1 or 2 or up to 5 or 6 steps to the right, you can increase warmth. And let's bring that saturation up just ever so slightly, and I think we're well on our way to getting this corrected. But you see how all this plays together. The hue and saturation, they work hand in glove, and if you can learn how to coordinate things with this slider, learn how they work, then you can do some amazing adjustments on color. I'm going to go ahead and say OK to that, and then come up to Image, Adjustments, Color Balance, and we'll do just another little adjustment and get him looking groovy. So there's that, and there's that, and we hit OK. We deselect, and much better. Jimmy looks a lot better. Now we missed this little crease in his neck, but you get the general idea. So there you have it, the hue and saturation slider. One more time, experimentation is the rule, but it really is a very powerful set of sliders in Photoshop CS6.